Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of X4 the Beginner's Guide. Now I know it's been a while since we've done something for the Beginner's Guide, but I've had a lot of questions regarding stations and their inactivity more per se. Now obviously we've moved away from the original kind of episodes that we had for the Beginner's Guides, so this is actually a part of the Terran campaign. So if you don't recognise it, that's why. So if you'd like to know more about the campaign itself, make sure you do check that out. There's a whole playlist on the Terran campaign where we are trying to take over our little sector for the Terrans and then move into the 4.1 multiplayer that's arriving soon. However, today we're going to be talking about things and questions that we've had along the lines of, why do my stations do nothing? Why do my ships do nothing that I assign to stations? You know, I've got trading platforms, I've got mining platforms, I've got all these kind of things, but they're doing nothing. Well, there is a very simple answer to that, but not a very simple resolution. Now remember, this is a simulation. This simulates you trying to run an entire empire, business, whatever you want to call it. You know, as far as you're going to stretch it is as hard as you're going to have to work for it. Unfortunately, that means we have to do a little bit of micromanaging. So for today's episode, I'm going to be concentrating on two stations that are designed to do the same thing. However, one's doing something and one's not, which highlights the problem that most people have been having. We're going to be talking about these two training stations, the Jupiter training station and the Asteroid Belt training station. All in all, if we go to plan build, you'll see it's got some adjustments that it's being made to here. While we're here, we may as well throw a builder on here. Okay, there we go. We've got a builder, so because this has done nothing recently, I've actually not worked on its expansion, which is why it's in production. But that is the Asteroid Belt training station. It has ports for small and mediums, and it has its ring for the large connectors, so it can take any ship. If we close our menu here and we have a look at our Jupiter trading station, plan build, you'll see it's a similar design. I've made some adjustments. I've added more docking stations to it and some more storage containers because this station is much busier. This is the one that is operating. The previous one is the one that's not doing anything. Now, why is that the case? So if we have a look here, first of all, how to highlight something isn't quite what it should be. If you notice on this Jupiter trading station here, very few have these little hourglass marks. Very few also have the auto trade marks. You see, they all have different symbols, they all have different locations, they're all doing something. All of these ships here are obviously very busy. Here, they all say the same thing, and they're all in the same place, which is basically where the shipyard is. They've not been given any tasks. Now, I gave these tasks to them about half an hour ago. So if they were going to do something, they'd have done it by now. You can see it's assigned to the Asteroid Belt trading station. It's not a 1-star captain, but that won't mean much. And I'll explain why shortly. And I've actually made a slight error to something as well that I'm going to highlight in a second. Check the behaviour. Nothing in the behaviour. This is the problem here. Max gate distance to buy, max gate distance to sell. Stations tend to sell in. So basically, they won't buy stuff in, but they will buy some stuff, but very little. What they tend to do is they'll sell to somewhere else. So if you're trying to do something that's a chain, for example, and this is the main chain I'm using at the moment, especially for these stations, considering they're by my shipyards. You can see I've got a wharf and 2 shipyards there. And that's also in Jupiter, where my main Jupiter trading station is. I am running low on energy cells in Jupiter. Because Jupiter has no sun, or very little sun I should say, I don't bother with a energy cell production here. My energy cell production is in Venus. Solar power plant there. Venus is 1, 2, 3 jumps away from Jupiter. So most stations will struggle to get there. Asteroid Belt, which is 2 jumps away, has a 1 jump buy and sell. It's never ever going to buy from my Venus trading station. So there's 2 things we can do to erase that. Number one is the manual way. You can send all these ships to there and send them over to there. And after a while, it will pick up. And I'll show you why. The second thing we can do is a bit of micromanaging. Get my thing back to where it was. The reason why these stations aren't doing what they're supposed to do is down to the managers. Now, I know we haven't spoken much about managers, but the big difference between these two stations is the level of manager. The asteroid belt has a 0-star manager. It has no stars. A Jupiter trading station has a 3.5-star manager. Whenever you assign a ship to do something, it bases it off the parent ship or station. For example, all of these ships here all have a 3 jump distance. 1, 2, 3. The asteroid belt one does not. Doesn't matter what level they are, that's a 1-star. So it could potentially do a 2 jump distance. But it's not going to, because it bases it off the station's level, which is obviously less than 1 star. So the way we get around that is we do a bit of jumbling around. So we get our asteroid belt and we get to our crew. Adrian Shepard, I'm afraid you are sacked. So we'll send him to the Okinawa there. And I'll make sure you send him to somewhere you're going to know. So we'll send him to the Okinawa. So select CRC 442. You can go to service crew. There we go, assign. Now we're going to go to our player information, our personnel management. Select display role, skill for role, manager. You're going to then adjust it so it goes up. Now you can see we've got a couple of 5-star managers, and we could take these off our processing plant or the silicon carbide mill, but we need these. See, they're all on the factories. The factories are extremely busy, which is why they're all so high. The wharf is good. Solar power plant's good. You know, all these training stations there. Okay, the Grand Exchange isn't really worthwhile. Mineral plant. Bolo Mineral LIQ 816. You're a 3-star manager because, or you're almost 3-star manager, because captains do good. And he's a mineral miner, so he's going to be quite busy. He's going to probably be assigned to the silicon carbide mill. He's gaining level, but doesn't technically need it. And you'll also see his piloting skill isn't quite as good as his managing skill. So, Dalia Stavros. Work somewhere else for me. Asteroid belt, select. Manager. Assign. So now, this mineral ship has no captain. There's no subordinates in it. There's no crew. So, where are you? So you're in the silicon carbide mill, so remember where he is. The ship, that is. We're going to go to our Okinawa again. We have our apprentice here. Work somewhere else for me. Head over to our silicon carbide. Alpha Group Miner. Bolo Mineral. Select. Select role. Captain. Assign. There we go. So he now has a captain again. So, if we go over to our mineral miner, you'll see that he still has a max gate jump of 5x5 and 0x5. Well, Cell is also by 5. That is our 0-star crew member, because it relies on the station. So, another good way of leveling up your crew is by placing them onto stations that have higher managers, because they're still doing work. They're still gaining experience, which accrues the skill. Now, this will take a minute. Let's give him some credits. There we go. Where are we? So you have 3-star. So now these should... They now have a 2x2 jump distance. So they were 1x1 before, they're now 2x2. Now, they will hopefully look for energy cells, microlattice, or silicon carbide. But they will take a minute or two to kind of, get into the swing of things. They've only just been told what to do. So, let's fast forward a couple of minutes where hopefully they'll be doing something. And welcome back. And as you can see, one of our ships has now taken a buy offer. There's the Okinawa there, and he's now gaining some resources for us. So these ships are now starting to filter down. There you go, there's the one there. He's docking to collect from Jupiter, I think, or docking somewhere. Maybe actually might be, oh yeah, there you go. Two of them are docking there. They may actually be docking at our Jupiter trading station, taking from its resources over to the asteroid belt. Now, my asteroid belt training station is just to expand on the further reaches of these places, because obviously these don't have a 5x5 jump. Now, Jupiter will reach most places, but it may struggle to reach Earth and stuff like that. So the asteroid belt also stretches out to these areas here. But as you can see, they are starting to now do stuff. Now, if they are still not doing anything, and this is for all your stations, then what you need to do is also double check your logical overview. I've set it in a way where I've made my own rule that they will only trade with their own faction. That Pioneer Engineer energy freighter is actually probably transferring words from one of my stations to this station. At the moment, this is set up just to collect. If you want to create a sell order, then you put a sell order in here. Now, I know they've worked on 4.1's trading, so this will slightly change when it comes to 4.1. They've made some improvements on it, but it is slowly better than what it used to be. But you can see now that our station is actually finally starting to do something. Energy cells are the main one that it will go for, but it is picking up some of the other stuff as well. So we're slowly getting some dribs and drabs. It's picking up the 4 things that we need. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to create sell orders for each one of these as well. Now, the one thing you will notice sometimes as well is they will keep buying and selling between each station, but they will kind of get a balance. So over time, they will level out because they'll obviously have full resources on each of them and start to sell to other places. But you imagine one station is helping another station pick up, you know, get itself going, that kind of thing. That's how you got to look at it. But that is effectively how you make sure your stations are actually doing something. Don't forget, you can improve on that. You can, you know, pick up a level 5 manager. You can also go around the stations looking for managers and stuff like that. You know, speak to them, buy their services, place them onto your stations. You don't have to do it via the ships. Just the ships are a little bit easier and a little bit easier for you to see all in one. The next question is how can you get skills quicker? Best way to do that, or the best way I found to do that, is if you pick up a large ship, generally a freighter. A freighter generally does the most work, or a miner. They're the two that generally do the most work. Your combat ships are only effective during combat, and when they do like patrols and stuff like that, they're not always gaining as much skill. However, these ships here will generally pick up more work. So I've got an Okinawa that I'm going to... Where are we? There we go, Okinawa. So these two here are also being assigned to the same station, but I've left them unassigned for now. So imagine you've built some ships. It doesn't matter what size ship they are, the bigger the better, and you want to gain some skills relatively quicker than what you would normally do. Now, don't forget, this is a simulation, so the skill level does take a while to do. But if you're doing a lot of trading and stuff like that, you'll pick it up in no time. Let's head on over to our shipyard number 1, which is my large shipyard. We've got the Okinawa selected. I'm going to right click. We're going to upgrade repair at crew. And you can either have marine or service crew. I generally do service crew. There are no service crew in my station. That would be why I've not got any. Okay, that's not a problem. So if you have that problem, because I'm using my own stations, they've just got no spare crew, you can find, here we go, one of their stations. Probably a good way to show you anyway, because not everybody has their own. Upgrade repair at crew. You have crew. There we go. Crew available. Available from Terran Shipyard 788. Add to shipyard. Add to shopping list. Confirm order. Then I'm going to assign you to my asteroid belt. Raid for commander. Alpha. Okay. Did you... I believe that just overruled what I've just asked him to do. So let's just double check on that. Just be wary of that. There we go. Add to shopping list. Confirm order. Yeah, so it did. It overruled it when I set my set the commander as thingy. So just be wary of that. So our second one, we'll assign him first. Trade for commander, alpha. You then go over to the shipyard. Grade repair at. The crew. 57 service crew. Add to shopping list. There we go. So they would both pick up full crew compliments on both ships, and then as they're going around doing trades and stuff like that, they will increase the skill of the crew. A good way to see that is once they've collected their crew, you'll see that they'll go from apprentices to able crewmen to specialists. When you start seeing able crew and specialists, these are the people you can start using to replace other captains on other ships. For example, some of your fleets may need higher ship crew levels, you know, because obviously the better the skills they are, the better they're going to fight and stuff like that. So that's how you can kind of streamline your stations and ships to do better. This same theory also applies for ships that you are using as standalones. You can see this is not even a 1-star. So I've got it set to mine resources. So it's set to auto mine. Install. So it will only... It's a lot slower. It's a lot sluggish. It won't sell as far a distance. I'm not sure what the distance is for these. I think they only stay in the sector. But obviously, once you start increasing the skill, you get advanced auto mine and expert auto mine. Advanced auto mine, they will actually buy and sell. They will actually mine and then sell the resources into a different sector. An expert auto mine does that. I think you can select 2 resources. I can't remember on expert auto mine. It's been a while since I've used it, but I will double check on that. So hopefully that's helped you out getting some more activity out of your stations. I have gone through most of my stations, apart from obviously I left the asteroid belt clear. You can see these are all now busy. They're all doing stuff. Whereas before they were all sat doing nothing. So you can see that I've done absolutely no other changes apart from the ones I've done right for you. So you can see it works. That's your main go-to. Your secondary go-to, or even you can even do it first, is obviously checking out your logical, making sure you set everything right. Look at that. Massive difference there. You know, make sure they are. You've got your automatic buy amounts, your prices right. You got your storage allocations. You've actually got storage to store stuff as well. That's another big one. But that is how you're going to get inactivity to activity to make money. You can see everything's now starting to fill up, which is brilliant. That's exactly what we want to see. So yeah, so hopefully that's helped you out. Any other questions, comments, or ideas, or anything like that you want clarifying, just let me know in the comment section. Don't forget, some of the things I don't cover on purpose because I just don't generally do it. Things like, you know, trying to take over stations and stuff. It's just, it can be a little bit fiddly, a little bit more complex. I know somebody asked about taking over ships, but to try and find a ship that's actually been, you know, abandoned is fairly hard. So things like that I tend not to show, but if they do happen during, you know, a campaign and stuff like that, I do try and make a note to make a point of that on another video. But as I say, if there's anything at all you struggle with, or if there's something that you're not quite understanding or anything like that and you want me to go through, then let me know in the comment section. Don't forget, things do change per versions as well, so make sure when 4.1 lands you do check that out when it comes. I will cover all of 4.1 upgrades and updates and stuff like that when it comes out. But until next time, everybody, take care for now. Shall see you on the next one. Bye bye for now.